Hello, 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 hello. What's up, people? How y'all living? How y'all doing? There's no one here yet. But I gotta get warmed up. You know what I'm saying? So unprofessional of me. Chewing gum on set. How dare I chew gum in the corner of my kitchen? I'm gonna spit it out before I start reading, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna spit it out before I start reading. Oh, share. Go to share this, Taylor. Share. Twitter. Nope. Boom. Let's go here. Go home. How y'all doing? Hello. Boy, I don't know who be in here on YouTube, but they be in here. Quick AF. Good grief. Let's see. We got a little notification. This is the last episode of the week, and then I'm going on vacation until the 26th, I think. I'm going on vacation until the 26th. I'm going on vacation until the 26th. Welcome in. Hello. How you doing? Just waiting on a few people to get in here, giving it a little bit of time, letting the time tick away so we can get started. And yes, I am chewing gum on set. It is. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. I guess I should. I might as well. Let me see. Pin the comment. I need to do that here. I hope y'all doing all right today. Post and post. And then pin. Throwing that out there for the universe. I don't think it's a totally bad. All right. Got the message pin. Let me go pop this gum out of my mouth before we get started. Let's get it started, huh? Let's get it started in here. This is the last show of the week, and then I'm going on vacation. And then I'm going on vacation. Oh. Going on vacation. Well, it's been 5 minutes. Welcome to Reading with Miss Taylor Said. My name is Taylor. I'm also known as Miss Taylor Said, and I started this show on November 30th in an effort to complete a few goals. One of those goals being that I want to actually read the books that I own. I posted a meme today that's just like, I'm not going to buy any more books until I read all of my old ones. Like, no, I still buy new books. But now I have a place where I can read all my old ones and actually get through them. And people look forward to it, and I look forward to it, and we get through the book and we discuss together. So I actually retain what's in the book, because I usually can't retain what's in a book unless I'm not well. You know, it becomes a thing where it's like, I need to finish my introduction, but it becomes a thing where it's like, oh yeah, one time I read a thing, but I feel like if I talk about it and discuss the book with people, then I really retain one of them. Anyway, the second reason why I started this show is because I want to get more comfortable with reading aloud in front of an audience. Some of the things I want to do with my career are going to include me reading off of teleprompters, reading speeches, reading cue cards, reading scripts, and just reading other people's words, but having to deliver it in a particular way. So that's something that I want to get practice with as well. Welcome to Taylor Said. And the final reason why I started this show is because I want to get more comfortable public speaking again. I used to do a lot of public speaking when I was in college and even in high school. But as I got into my mid to late 20s, I got away from it big time. So 2020 afforded me the opportunity to get back out there, practice again, even though it's virtual. And I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for you guys being here. I'm thankful that you guys keep showing up. Good grief. I love you guys. Y'all know how to make a gal feel good. Okay. We are currently reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. And we are finishing up chapter 3 today. And then just a couple of church announcements. I am going on vacation, which I was singing about earlier. And I will be back on Monday, April 26th at 6 p.m. So after today, I will be gone for a week. And then I'll be back Monday, April 26th. I'm going on a trip in a little rocket ship, zooming through the sky, little Einsteins, I'm going on a mind my business trip, and I am excited about my mind my business trip, but I need a week to prepare for my business trip. So I'm excited. I hate that I'm not going to have the show. I'm not going to be able to do the show, but at the same time, I'm excited to get a break. Because I've been doing this. I mean, there have been a few weeks that I have missed. And of course, I've missed days like I've missed yesterday. But we're at the point where I can still do that and I can still make a choice. Yeah. Welcome in. Let's get to reading. Church announcements are over. We're reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. We are finishing up chapter 3 today. The last thing that we left off on was Cynthia's story. Let's see. Actually, the last thing we left off on was that when we're talking about how it feels to have a relationship with an emotionally immature parent, one of the last character trait we left off on was they demand mirroring, which if you missed the previous episodes, you can watch on IGTV, on Facebook, or you can watch on YouTube over here. So you can go back and catch the previous episodes, if you missed it. So let's continue. Cynthia's story. Cynthia's mother, Stella, who was extremely volatile, expected Cynthia to mirror her every mood, like an emotional clone. When Cynthia decided to travel as a young adult, I read this one already, but I'm going to read it again. When Cynthia decided to travel as a young adult, Stella exploded, yelling, "You're disowned," and broke off all contact with Cynthia. She didn't talk to Cynthia for months, not even on her birthday. Cynthia summed up her mother's message as, "You wanted to be on your own. You left me. I don't want anything to do with you." After another episode of rage sparked by Cynthia's plan to visit a friend in Canada, Stella cut off Cynthia's college funds. She told Cynthia that she was selfish for wanting to travel, saying, "What's the matter with you? Life isn't about having fun." Stella could only feel safe if Cynthia mirrored the same kind of narrow life she'd had. Fortunately, Cynthia had a strong personality. She put herself through college and became a flight attendant, traveling to exotic locations. But in the back of her mind, she still had the belief that if she wanted to keep any relationship, she had to appease and mirror the other person. She told me that she always feared people would react as her mother did, punishing her for daring to be different from them. Welcome in. We are reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Welcome in. The next character trait, well, not character trait, but the next section on how it feels to have a relationship with an emotionally immature parent. Their self-esteem rise on your compliance. I think I read this one too, but I'm going to read it again. People who are emotionally immature only feel good about themselves when they can get other people to give them what they want and to act like they should, like they think they should. Given this shaky self-worth, it's hard for emotionally immature parents to tolerate their children's emotions. An upset or fussy child can stir up their anxieties about their own fundamental goodness. If they can't immediately calm their child, they may feel like a failure and then blame the child for upsetting them. For instance, Jeff remembered an incident from childhood when he asked his father for help with his homework. When Jeff didn't understand the lesson immediately, his father yelled, "How goddamn stupid can you be? Stop being so lazy. You just don't try." That's familiar. Well, hey baby, welcome in. You just don't try. Not surprisingly, Jeff was mortified and didn't ask for help again. What he couldn't understand as a child was that his father was fighting his own terror of being an incompetent father if he failed to help his son understand easily and immediately. His reaction wasn't about Jeff at all. For emotionally immature people, all interactions boil down to the question of whether they're good people or bad ones, which explains their extreme defensiveness if you try to talk to them about something they did. They often respond to even mild complaints about their behavior with an extreme statement like, "Well, then I must be the worst mother ever," or "Obviously I can't do anything right." They would rather shut down communication than hear something that could make them feel like bad people. Okay. Ooh, all right. The next section says, and this one, me and my friends have been talking about this one, this obsession with freaking titles. Okay. They see roles as sacred. If there's anything emotionally immature people are keen on in relationships, it's role compliance. Roles simplify life and make decisions clear-cut. As parents, emotionally immature people need their children to play a proper role that includes respecting and obeying them. They often use platitudes to support the authority of their role as a parent because, like roles, platitudes oversimplify complex situations and make them easier to deal with. So the first one under the roles, role entitlement. Role entitlement is an attitude of demanding certain treatment because of your social role. When parents feel entitled to do what they want simply because they're in the role of the parent, this is a form of role entitlement. They act as though being a parent exempts them from respecting boundaries or being considerate. Yep. It's like, yep. They just said it very clearly. Marty's parents provide a classic example of role entitlement. Marty and her husband moved into a different city after Marty's husband was transferred. Not long after, Marty's parents moved nearby. Once in the neighborhood, her parents began stopping by unannounced and even walked into her house without knocking. When Marty suggested that they call first, her parents were indignant and cited their roles as parents to claim their right to drop in anytime. Here's another example. Faith had to ban visits from her mother, a real estate agent, because she insisted on making changes to the furniture and accessories in Faith's house. Even after Faith told her mother to stop, she protested that she should be allowed to do it because she was Faith's mother and a realtor. Two key roles for her. I'll give you another example. Y'all remember that episode of Blackish? Oh, it's one of my favorites from Blackish. You remember that episode of Blackish when Rainbow had the baby and Ruby gave the baby formula when Rainbow was breastfeeding? And like, she was like, Ruby was doing all these things. It was just like, I'm a mother. I've been a mother for a long time. Like, I'm a mother. So, and I'm a grandmother and I've been doing this for years. She did all of that. completely disrespecting Rainbow and her wishes and the way that she wanted to be with her baby and the way she wanted to nurse her baby, feed her baby, all the things, all the ways she wanted to raise her baby. Like, Ruby was going against that because she didn't respect her role. She didn't respect her actual role, which is grandmother that should be supporting. She was like, I am Andre's mother and I'm your mother-in-law and I'm that baby's grandmother. I can do what I want, which is total freaking disrespect. Total disrespect. So Rainbow, she ended up standing up for herself though and telling Ruby, like, you have to get out of my house. You have to get out of my house because I specifically asked you not to do that and you did it anyways. And you physically violated my child by giving them a food item that I told you specifically I don't want them to have. So you got to get out. The next one is coercion. Role coercion occurs when people insist that someone live out a role because they want them to. As parents, they try to force their children into acting a certain way by not speaking to them, threatening to reject them, or getting other family members to gang up against them. Role coercion often involves a heavy dose of shame and guilt, such as telling a child that he or she is a bad person for wanting something the parent disapproves of. Client Jillian, whose family was rigidly religious, experienced a malignant role coercion. Jillian married an abusive man who physically injured her numerous times. She finally found the courage to leave him, only to have her mother insist that she return to her husband. Desperate for her mother's support, Jillian finally told her mother about the abuse. But in her mother's eyes, that was beside the point. Jillian now held the role of a married woman, and divorce was a sin. How raggedy is that? In another example, when Mason told his mother he thought he might be gay, she said he couldn't be because you're not a zebra. In her mind, the role of her son was firmly heterosexual, and if her son didn't see himself that way, he was as deluded as if he were claiming to be a different species. Okay, I didn't read that right at all, but you get the point. Insistence on complying with roles to this degree is a profound invalidation of a child's most personal and essential choices in life. Yet emotionally immature parents have no qualms about doing it because they aren't comfortable with complexity and prefer life simplified. In their view, not fulfilling a supposed role means something is wrong with a person and the person needs to change. People are obsessed with titles. People are obsessed with these titles and these roles because they have to put you in a box to understand or to feel comfortable. They have to put you in a box to feel comfortable and claim that they understand, but that's not the case. That's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. It's like, just because you're my mother, it does not give you the right to violate my physical boundaries, my emotional boundaries, any boundaries that I have. And that was true even when I was a child. That was true even when I was a child, but I couldn't advocate for myself as a child. So now it has to be true as an adult. And that's still true for children. They are their own person. They have their own brains and their own personalities and their own decisions. And while they're going to be incredibly influenced by their upbringing, ultimately, they are their own person. And so to use your role to get them to do something or behave a certain way is manipulative and emotionally immature. Okay. Ooh, I don't like the way this word looks. The next how it feels to have a relationship with an emotionally immature parent is they seek enmeshment. I've never seen this word before. They seek enmeshment, not emotional intimacy. They seek enmeshment and not emotional intimacy. For those that are just joining, we are reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. We're in chapter 3, talking about how it feels to have a relationship with an emotionally immature parent. And this section is called They Seek Enmeshment, Not Emotional Intimacy. Although emotional intimacy and enmeshment can look superficially similar, these two styles of interaction are very different. In emotional intimacy, two individuals, hey, I'm glad you're here, Sorante. In emotional intimacy, two individuals with fully articulated selves enjoy getting to know each other at a deep level, building emotional trust through mutual acceptance. In the process of getting to know each other, they discover and even cherish differences between them. Emotional intimacy is invigorating and energizes people toward personal growth as they enjoy the interest and support of another person. In enmeshment, on the other hand, two emotionally immature people seek their identity and self-completion through an intense, dependent relationship. Ooh, I done had an enmeshment or two, okay? Through this enmeshed relationship, they create a sense of certainty, predictability, and security that relies on the reassuring familiarity of each person playing a comfortable role for the other. I'm gonna run that back because I feel like I need to say it again, okay? Through this enmeshed relationship, they create a sense of certainty, predictability, and security that relies on the reassuring familiarity of each person playing a comfortable role for the other. If one person tries to step out of the implicit bounds of the relationship, the other often experiences great anxiety that's only eased by a return to the prescribed role. Those relationships, so it's just like, why can't we just be good again? And those relationships where you're constantly trying to get back to being good again, because you got to get back into that enmeshed role. So there's one under a subsection of this is playing favorites. Enmeshment sometimes manifests as playing favorites. It can be hard to watch your parent give attention to a preferred sibling. I was the preferred sibling. Give attention to a preferred sibling, making you wonder why your parent never showed that kind of interest in you. But obvious favoritism isn't a sign of a close relationship. It's a sign of enmeshment. It's likely that the preferred sibling has a psychological maturity level similar to your parents. Low levels of emotional maturity pull people into mutual enmeshment, especially if they are parent and child. Remember, emotionally immature people relate on the basis of roles, not individuality. If you had an independent, self-reliant personality, your parent wouldn't have seen you as a needy child for whom he or she could play the role of rescuing parent. Oh, we're talking about that kind of favoritism. That's reserved for my brothers. Instead, you may have been pegged as the child without needs, the little grown-up. It wasn't some sort of insufficiency in you that made your parent pay more attention to your sibling. Rather, it's likely that you weren't dependent enough to trigger your parents' enmeshment instincts. Interestingly, self-sufficient children who don't spur their parents to become enmeshed are often left alone to create a more independent and self-determined life. Therefore, they can achieve a level of self-development exceeding that of their parents. In this way, not getting attention can actually pay off in the long run. But in the meantime, high-functioning children still have the pain of feeling left out as their parent pours energy into emotional enmeshment with one or more siblings. Like literally on both sides, my brothers get that level of, come over here with me. Like, it's them boys. They get coddled and the girls get left out to fend for themselves. Enmeshment can take the form of either dependency or idealization. In dependent enmeshment, the child is maladjusted and the parent plays the role of either rescuer or victim. In idealized enmeshment, the parent indulges a favorite child as if the child is more important and deserving than the other kids. However, this traps the idealized favorite child in an ironclad role so that the child isn't experiencing any true emotional intimacy either. Now that right there, where it's just like I was preferred because I was easy. I didn't give a lot of pushback. So like there was the preference of my brothers, specifically my brother that's right under me, where if he were inconvenienced or upset, he would be accommodated for because he would throw such a fit. And me, it was like, well, I'm preferred because I'm easy. So I don't give a lot of pushback. I don't struggle with school, stuff like that. And it's not to say my siblings struggle with school. It's just that the learning style that they had at the schools didn't fit them and they weren't really supported at home. I mean, they were, but not in the way that they needed. I think a little piece of popcorn ceiling just fell off of my ceiling. That was weird. But for me, it was like the ironclad role where it's just like, if you don't have emotional needs, you are just here to perform well. And that's what I did. Anyway, Heather's story. Heather had always longed for her mother's interest and attention, but had never received it, while her eldest sister, Marlo, was the clear favorite. Heather was particularly hurt when her mother enthusiastically reported how, on a recent visit, she and Marlo had just talked and talked and talked. About what? Heather asked. Oh, just how she was doing and what she wants to do. Heather's heart felt pierced because she had always wished for those kinds of conversations with her mother, but it had never happened. Another time at a holiday gathering, Heather watched with dismay as her mother fluttered around Marlo with an adoring look and volunteered to sit on an uncomfortable chair so Marlo could have a nice seat. Mark's story. Mark's father, Don, clearly preferred Mark's younger brother, Brett, helping him financially and calling him his baby. My dad prefers my brother too. My brother's preferred by both of my parents. Not now, but for most of our lives. Yeah. When Mark's father died at the funeral, Mark's uncle remembered how hard Don had been on Mark, punishing him harshly for no good reason. You were the best one, his uncle told him. I couldn't understand why he was so tough on you. Mark was an independent, intelligent child who was never dependent on his father. They couldn't enmesh, so Don turned to Brett, who was more emotionally immature. Yeah. All right. Ooh. This one too. Finding substitute family members. Emotionally immature parents can act out their need for enmeshment even with people who aren't close family members. If there's an enmeshment void, they'll go outside the immediate family to fill it. They might also become enmeshed with a group such as a church or other organization. Yes, that's what they do. That's what they do. When we were going to church, do you know how many, bruh, y'all don't know because y'all didn't grow up with me. My mom still, there are people right now that my mom calls her daughter, and we'll spend time with them, go out with them, hang out with them. You know, they go out to dinner, they bring her gifts, she brings them gifts. They're her babies, they're her girls. It was like that at church. And then after church, and then in her workspace, and now there I can think of 3 off the top of my head that she calls her daughters that are not any of my actual siblings. And she did that at church too. Am I airing you out? Not you, but I don't think she'll watch it. But is it happening? Yes, because this is my truth and this is the stuff I experienced. And it is hurtful that it happened, that it happens. Anyway, Bill's story. Ha ha ha. I don't know what's wrong with me. Sorry, y'all. I'm excited about going on vacation. I'm excited about that. And I'm not feeling particularly emotionally bogged down today because of yesterday. Yesterday was a heavy day, which is why I wasn't here yesterday. But we're here and we're going to get into Bill's story. Sorry about the distraction. Bill's story. After Bill was grown and out of the house, his parents started taking in homeless people they met through a church outreach program. At any get-together, Bill's parents would regale people with stories about the latest in the lives of the people they were helping. Although Bill's parents were very invested in talking about the latest person they had taken under their wings, they rarely mentioned anything Bill was involved in. All right, we almost done, y'all. We almost done. The next how it feels is they have an inconsistent sense of time. Although this is an extremely subtle point, I hope my air conditioner's not too loud, y'all. Y'all know I'm gonna go turn it off. I'll be back. Oh, they can love you. Oh. They can love you. Okay. All right. They have an inconsistent sense of time. Lots of S's. Although this is an extremely subtle point and easily overlooked, emotionally immature often have a fragmented orientation to time, especially when they get emotional. We might assume that all adults experience time in the same way, using kind of linear continuum that stretches seamlessly from the distant past into the foreseeable future. Not so with emotionally immature people. When they get emotionally aroused, moments exist in a kind of eternity now, of a kind of eternal now. This is one reason why the lives of emotionally immature people are always beset with problems. They don't see them coming. Ruled by desires of the moment, their experiences in time are frequently disconnected. When acting on their impulses, they don't use the past for guidance, and they don't anticipate the future. This disturbance in time this disturbance in time continuity explains their inconsistencies and the under-reflective way they handle relationship issues. Whew. It was all the 3-syllable words in that. They don't remember time right. They don't remember nothing right. They don't remember things based on the actual time that it happened. They don't work with time the same. They're not on the same time we're on. Why a poor sense, and this is a subsection. Actually, this is actually the last trait, or how it feels trait. Everything within it is subsections, okay? So why a poor sense of time can look like emotional manipulation. Emotionally immature people may seem to be emotional manipulators, but actually they're just very These words are kicking my ass today. Emotionally immature people may seem to be emotional manipulators, but actually they're just very opportunistic tacticians pressing for whatever feels best at the time. They chasing a high of feeling good. They have no investment in being consistent, so they say whatever gives them an edge in the moment. They may be capable of strategic thinking in their work or in other pursuits, but when it comes to emotional situations, they go for the immediate advantage. Lying is a perfect example of a momentary win that feels good, but is destructive to a relationship in the long run. Ooh, I just got a terrible feeling in my stomach when I read the word lying. The next one says how a lacking sense of time's continuity creates inconsistency. When stressed or emotionally aroused, immature people don't experience themselves as being embedded in the ongoing flow of time. They experience moments in time as separate, non-linear blips, like little lights randomly going on and off, with few linkages in time between one interaction and another. They act inconsistently as their consciousness hops from one experience to another. This is one reason why they're often indignant when you remind them of their past behavior. For them, the past is gone and has nothing to do with the present. Likewise, if you express caution about something in the future, they're likely to brush you off since the future isn't here yet. Ooh. it's so weird because that's something that I noticed with someone I dated, that they were very live fast, die young. The choices that they made were based on the now, the ooh shiny, like ooh shiny. They had big ooh shiny vibes. And even, I mean, granted, they were lying the whole time they were with me. However, it was lots of like quick, like it was like the future was a concept, and you could add details to the concept, practical details to the concept, but day to day, live fast, die young. And I mean, yeah, I've dealt with people like this where they just, it's like they're not here. They're just not here. They have they have outrageous timelines. They will say something happened this time ago when it may have happened years ago or not happened at all. It's, yeah. Anyway, how an immature, let me see. Okay. More emotionally mature people, on the other hand, experience time as a series of connected, self-aware moments. If they regret something they did, it continues to travel through time with them, attached to them by an emotion like shame or guilt. If they think about doing something risky in the future, they feel linked to what might happen and may choose to do something different. The moments of their lives feel connected, each affecting the others and all affecting their relationships with other people. So it's the self-awareness. Welcome in, reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents and finishing up chapter 3. The next section and the last section before the summary, before the chapter is over. How an immature sense of time limits self-reflection and accountability. Self-reflection is the ability to analyze your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors over time. Self-reflection is the ability to analyze your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors over time. People who focus mostly on the present moment don't have enough time perspective to engage in self-reflection. Instead, with each new moment, they leave behind their past, freeing them from any sense of responsibility for their actions. Therefore, when someone feels hurt by something they did in the past, they tend to accuse the person of dwelling on the past for no good reason. They don't understand why others can't just forgive, forget, and move on. Because of their limited sense of continuity of time, they don't understand that it takes time to heal from a betrayal. You can see how hard accountability would be for these people. It's a flimsy concept for those who don't feel a temporal connection between their actions and future consequences. As a result, their natural style is to promise something, not do it, apologize perfunctorily, and then resent people if they keep bringing it up. You may wonder why a person would develop such an unreliable sense of time, being blind to their own inconsistencies and unable to observe their own behavior. It has nothing to do with their lack of self-development or poor personality integration. It has to do with their lack of self-development and poor personality integration, along with their tendency toward extremely concrete, literal thinking. Because they don't have an ongoing, continuous self as the organizing center of their personality, emotions or stress can put them in a childlike mentality in which moments in time float separately. So I feel like with my ex, welcome in, y'all. We're reading The Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. All these people came in and the book about over now. Well, not the book, but the chapter. Don't leave. It makes me think about my ex, the one that I lived with, because him and I were on two ends of the spectrum. So for me, I was in that like, I can't do anything about the past, so why do I have to keep apologizing and like make a promise to do something, but then not keep up with the promise? because I was not emotionally mature at that time. At the same time, though, he was on the opposite end of never being able to let anything go. And nothing was good enough for, like, there was no justice. There was no justice for whenever his feelings were hurt. So it would be like, it was so weird. It was so weird because it would be like he would be upset with me about something I did or something I said or a tone or whatever. And then I would be like, how are you feeling? And then he would tell me what I did as the feeling. It's just that you did this and da 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 da. Wouldn't actually say the feeling, would just say to me what I did. So I would attempt an apology. But if it was something that I had a pattern of doing, it would be like every time I would apologize, he would want to see an immediate result of my changed behavior, even though you can't really see the changed behavior until time has passed. So after a while, I just was just like, I don't know what to do. So the past is the past. I did it. I'm sorry. Can we move on and have a good night? And he would be like, you don't understand because blah, 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 blah. And it would just, it was like two ends of the spectrum. It was gross because nobody wanted to be held accountable. No one could be held accountable because, like, even if I felt like I could be held accountable, I would immediately get defensive because I'm just like, I don't like the way you're handling this. I'm okay with apologizing and being held accountable, but I don't like the way you're handling this. And he would have the same thing where it was just like, not particularly fond of the way you're doing this. So just gonna be a jerk to you for the rest of the day, and I'm just gonna be a bitch to you for the rest of the day. Are we gonna fight later with our hands? Possibly. But I guess we'll have a good day tomorrow. That is not how relationships are supposed to go, y'all. That's not how it's supposed to go. Don't do it. If your relationship is like that, walk away. Please. Please. It's not healthy. You should not spend your whole relationship trying to get back to the good part of your relationship. You should not be spending your whole relationship trying to recapture the magic of the beginning of your relationship or trying to recapture the magic of one particular period of time in your relationship. You should be evolving and growing and learning more about each other every day and expanding your ways of loving each other. Not, sorry, I'm dazing. I'm looking off because I'm thinking, not trying to constantly recapture the magic. I know. It doesn't work like that, Sorante. Sorante say you can't just dodge accountability whenever you feel like it. LOL. It don't work like that. It doesn't. Which is why I pride myself on being held accountable now, because I want to be held accountable. Please, accountability, smack me with accountability, not physically, not really. Don't hit me with accountability. But place your accountability in front of me and be like, here, girl, this is yours. Because I want to be held accountable. If I am being raggedy to a person, I want to know I'm being raggedy to them so that I can correct my behavior because I don't want to hurt people. Let's get into this summary of this chapter. Emotionally immature people have a poor sense of personal history and resist being accountable for their past actions or future consequences. Lacking a firm sense of self, they think family closeness means enmeshment, with people existing to mirror each other. Real communication is nearly impossible because of their poor empathy and rigid emphasis on roles. They neglect relationship repair and reciprocity and shirk the emotional work necessary to be sensitive to other people. Instead, they focus on whether others seem to make them look good or bad. Defending against anxiety trumps relating authentically to other people, including their children. In the next chapter, we'll take a look at some of the research in early mother-child attachment. We'll take a look at some of the research on early mother-child attachment to see how these immature characteristics might arise. Then I'll discuss how this translates into four main types of emotionally immature parents. Hey, welcome in. That is the end of chapter 3, y'all. If a lot of y'all are here and you weren't here earlier, so let me run these church announcements back. I'm going on vacation, and I will be on vacation until the 26th I'll be back on Monday the 26th, hopefully. Hopefully, because I should be getting back on the 25th. Yeah, if I sleep that day, I should be good to do the show on the 26th. But I'm getting back on the 26th. I'm going on vacation next week. Mind your business. You'll see the pictures when I'm done. You might catch a story, while I'm there. But yeah, going on vacation, and I'm gonna take the week off. So I'll be back on the 26th. I appreciate y'all being here. That was a heavy chapter just because they had to go through all of the different ways it feels to have a relationship with an emotionally immature parent. And it's exhausting and it's tiring. Sorante said exactly the happy beginning phase is just for that, the beginning. After that, the relationships got to grow into something even more beautiful, and it's wonderful. Yes, relationships should grow into something. You should not constantly try to recapture the magic of the early times, because the early times are not here anymore. They're gone. They're long gone. They're a nice memory. They are not your reality anymore. Now you can, do something that was better than the early times. You can spend time connecting with each other and communicating with each other so that you can grow that emotional intimacy, like we discussed earlier in chapter 3 tonight. Actually, not earlier, it's in the last part. But yeah, a lot of us are walking around in enmeshments, not in emotionally intimate relationships. We're just in these routines. I mean, I've done it. That's really what all of my relationships have been enmeshments, not actual emotional intimacy, just routines. We're doing life together. We're spending time together, doing life together. Occasionally we have sex and go on dates and play with each other, but a lot of times we're arguing and frustrated because we don't have emotional intimacy, because there's not a really emotional depth to the relationship. So now you're just in an enmeshment. Forget an entanglement. You're in an enmeshment instead of a relationship that's healthy. We gonna get there, y'all. We gonna get there. We on our way. Emotional maturity. We're fighting a good fight for emotional maturity. See my face? I'm tired. Because it's a lot of mental work trying to get yourself, on the path of healing and trying to heal all at the same time. It's a lot, but we out here, we doing it. I am thankful for you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing space with me. Thank you for watching the show, listening to me ramble on about things. Thank you for friendship. For those of you that I share friendship with, thank you for friendship. And I hope y'all have a great weekend and a great week. I hope y'all have lots of fun. The holiday that's coming up in 5 days. I don't know if it matters now that it's being legalized in other places, but national holiday on Tuesday. So it's not a real national holiday, but it's 4/20. So y'all enjoy that, because I will. And I hope y'all have a great night. There was something that I wanted to discuss here on the show. Before we get out of here, y'all. Before we get out of here, for my mental health, I've not been paying attention to the news, but I do know what's going on a little bit. I have an idea. I know about the incidents that have happened. I feel that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing to help my community, because with the books that I'm reading, with the things that we're doing here, I don't get paid for this. I do this with my free time. I've created time for this because it's not only helpful to me and helpful to the things that I want to do, but I know that the people that watch this mostly are Black. Mostly, not everybody, but mostly. and that a lot of the stuff that we talk about in this book and in the other books that we've read have been to help us internally so that we can grow and be better and do right, by the next generation. So I feel that I've found my work. So some stuff that I was doing last summer, I'm just tired. We've been doing this for years now. We've been doing this for years. And it hasn't stopped. It'll be a while before we'll stop. But with everything going on with the trial, most recent shooting with the military personnel that was tased, with the other guy that was yelling at the kid in front of the yard, all the stuff. If we could just have a moment, a quiet moment, or for us, just a moment of quiet from all the noise, from all the news, from all the music, from all the distractions and stuff. If we could just have a moment, y'all, because it's the experience of dealing with racism and all that stuff is painful, and I don't know if other spaces in our lives are creating space for us to just kind of feel. So let's just give it a moment, and we can just take a moment of silence, a moment of quiet. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for watching Reading with Miss Taylor Said. I will see y'all on Monday, April 26th. Y'all have an excellent weekend, and y'all have a great week. Bye. Bye, YouTube.